Hey friends, it's Paul Ward here, and welcome to another On the Road. Well, you probably know somebody or have a family member that's getting older and they're starting to need a little bit of care. Our next guest knows all about this and what seniors need. He is Sean Diswe with Devoted Care Services located in Ventura County, California. Sean, welcome to On the Road.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be on your podcast.
Absolutely. Well, Sean, I wanted to have you on. Of course, we want to learn all about your company, but also what drives you. I mean, it's fascinating to me because you're 19 years old and you've decided to jump into this industry. And of course, you got to have a lot of empathy in this field because you're dealing with older folks. But you bypassed college and you're now building this company. So I wanted to learn, why did you decide to do that? Why did you decide to skip college and jump into this industry that most 19-year-olds are not even aware of?
Yeah. So I think to really answer this question, I have to go into why, the business was founded in the first place. So the owner of the business is my mom. And so she created this business 8 years ago because she thought to herself, well, she was a caregiver herself, and she thought, I really want to make a space, an agency where caregivers themselves feel like they have a space that they feel respected, they feel comfortable to work in, and honestly, they get a fair wage. Because especially in her time of being a caregiver, they didn't really see caregiving as, a high career or something very valuable to society. And she thought, if I can create an agency, make a business to change that, then that's what I want to do. And so I really believe that I can, follow her mission and help lead the company to grow, to further, even more caregivers to make it seem like, or to show that it really is, a high potential to to grow here in caregiving, and there's other possibilities.
Sure. So your mom was a caregiver, and how long was she doing that before you jumped in?
So we came to America in 2009, and from 2009 all the way to like 2017, it was kind of a mix of some stuff that she did, but that was really her main, role when she moved here was to, become a caregiver because the rest of our family actually, when we got here, they all became caregivers. So she's been doing that for quite a while, and she said, she understands the industry very well. A lot of the community here knows her, so she thought it'd be a good opportunity to jump at it.
And when did she make the transition from caregiver herself to say I'm gonna start my own caregiving business?
I'd say it was kind of a while. She understood that when she got here, her sister helped kind of fund everything to get her here.
Hmm.
Her sister gave her a book. It was one of the inspirational books. I believe it was The Secret. And that really always kind of motivated her to pursue something, pursue creating a business, to kind of make something with her own, time and hands.
Sure. And you were, obviously a kid, and
Mhm.
you were watching mom, as a caregiver and then transition to a business owner. What made you want to, follow in mom's footsteps and jump in?
It was just really seeing, what she did on a daily basis. It was a long, creating the business to where it is now. It's been an extremely long and difficult path. And I really, I enjoyed, watching her work so incredibly hard to
Hmm.
now, being able to sit here and say, we have this business. It's doing good. And I'm just extremely proud of her. And so that's why I felt like I had the ability to join the business because she didn't go to college. She barely graduated high school in the Philippines.
Hmm.
So I thought, if my mom can do this, why can't I?
Sure. Sure. And so you decided to follow in mom's footsteps and saw an opportunity to, be a business leader at 19, and there were more opportunities to, jump in and help than, be sitting in in a classroom somewhere, I suppose.
And so, I mean, it's not that I won't necessarily go to college or that I don't like college. It's that I always just wanted to kind of go a different path, a different direction.
Hmm.
I mean, it's ever since I could remember, I would tell my mom, I don't want to go to college. I mean, even if I was like when I was 13, 14, I always envisioned in myself that I kind of wanted a different choice, a different path.
Sure.
And so I'm kind of living out my dream right now.
That's incredible. So now you're the chief operating officer, right? And you lead a team of what, 35 plus people?
Well, so my office team here in my staff is around 9 people, but we help lead a team of around 80 to 90 caregivers
Oh
here
wow.
in Ventura County, maybe surrounding like LA County a little bit.
So you're approaching 100 employees then.
Yes.
That's amazing. So let's talk about the services. You've got emotional, social, and mental health services that you're providing to seniors with all kinds of needs.
Yes. So what we provide is we provide the ability to seniors, to loved ones to independently, grow older in their own home. We don't necessarily always have to be in the home. We are really providing services wherever the senior needs, but usually, uh, seniors want to grow independently in their own home. And sometimes, well, most of the time, the family is working, they have other responsibilities, so it's really up to the senior to kind of thrive on their own. And it comes to the point where sometimes it's really better to have someone there with them, so at least they can maintain their independence, while having someone just, help around the house, help them if they have different situations like they're bedbound, they have, other disorders, they have dementia.
Hmm.
Caregivers being there really makes an incredible difference in their life.
I would imagine it's an incredibly challenging and difficult decision. You're losing your independence in some way, right? And you're
Yes.
admitting that you need help. And I would imagine, and you guys are probably part of that process because you get the phone call
Mhm.
from either the senior or maybe the senior's, adult parent, but they're finally realizing that they need somebody to come in and help.
So really a way for us to make the first step is to really show the senior that, you know, they really aren't losing independence by having caregivers, especially if they're, a little bit younger, maybe 80s to 90s, just kind of starting the first steps of having a caregiver. We really want to make sure that we are letting them do what they are able to do still, to
Hmm.
make sure that we don't just do everything for them so that they maintain, the independence that they wouldn't necessarily get if they were in a community or, maybe a boarding care. So
Sure.
we really just make that effort to make sure that our caregivers know, if they're still able, and want to be independent, that we give them that chance to.
So you would be essentially then, driving them to the grocery store to do their grocery shopping as opposed
Yeah.
to doing their grocery shopping for them.
Yes. I mean, if
So
they're still able to, yes.
interesting. And then is it, are they coming in for a couple hours a day? Are they spending the night, the caregivers?
It really depends on the senior's needs.
Hmm.
Usually, it's we have a minimum of like 6 hours, so 6 hours above, the caregivers can stay there. So if they want nighttime, if they want weekends, if they want the entire day, our caregivers are able to do that all for them.
Okay. And then what is the number one, I guess, need? Is it companionship? Is it cooking? Um, is it shopping? What's kind of the number one reason you get calls?
I think a big reason is companionship. It definitely helps that we have the other services like meal preparation. We can make meals for them, but companionship is huge, especially if you're a senior, um, you know, growing in your own home. It can get sort of lonely sometimes
Right.
because, it's not like you can go out as much. You mostly, especially if you're single, you stay really independent unless your family comes. Sometimes you have friends, but you don't have that constant everyday interaction. And
Right.
I think caregiving really helps with that because they become, more than just a caregiver. They become your friend. They can become someone you see as part of your family, especially if, you have that same caregiver for 3, 4, 5 years. They really grow and become close with each other.
So it sounds like the caregiver is the same caregiver that comes every time. It's not like a rotation where, on Monday you've got Sally and on Thursday you've got Bill. It's Sally is your caregiver, the same person.
So it really depends on the situation. If it's like they have maybe 6 hours, 3 days a week, usually that can be the same caregiver. But say it's 12 hours, 7 days a week,
Hmm.
sometimes we have to split it into like two, maybe three caregivers, just because, they can't work every single day.
Right.
And so sometimes we have to split it when those situations happen.
Hmm. And I would imagine your caregivers, they're they've got a lot of empathy too, right? They care
Yes.
about old people.
So our caregivers, we really make sure that they are people who love this business, who want to be here, and that's how I feel a lot of our caregivers are, especially since, our business in particular, we really try and show our caregivers that they are our top priority. Because when we treat our caregivers, with that, make them a priority,
Hmm.
then they go around and they treat their client like their priority.
How do you find your caregivers?
We have a lot of different ways. Recently, we just started posting on like Indeed, LinkedIn, the job finding sites. But a lot of the ways is from our caregivers right now. They refer other caregivers, or in the past, my mom, she's known a lot of caregivers, so kind of in that way.
And I would imagine caregivers are trained, right? They need to know CPR and
Yes.
other emergency services.
So yeah, they know they're all of our caregivers are CPR and first aid certified. And we have monthly trainings in the office that I feel also make us different, where we have maybe a group of 20, 30 caregivers every month, and we have like a professional um, go in and really kind of help train them, speak to them about like these new upcoming practices, and yeah.
So Sean, you guys are serving multiple communities. You started in where? Camarillo, and now you're branching out to other parts of Southern California?
Yeah, so what we really, right now, we only have one location, but we're able to serve a lot of the surrounding communities around us. For example, we're in Camarillo, that's where we started, but we're able to serve, a little bit of LA County, Thousand Oaks, Westlake, Santa Paula, Santa Barbara. And so we're really trying to expand our caregiver base a little bit so that we're able to help other seniors, in further away.
Wonderful. And you recently joined your local Rotary Club. I understand, the
Yes.
youngest Rotarian.
Yeah, and I just joined very recently. I think it's been around like 2 months, but I've really enjoyed it. I
What
think
what 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 made you want to do that, and how did you hear about Rotary?
uh, it's kind of a weird story where I just ran into my sponsor, Lida, at a restaurant in town, and she mentioned Rotary. My mom was actually a Rotarian before me, many years ago, so she thought that'd be a great idea. I'd get to serve the community a little bit more and just, know more of the members of the community here.
Wonderful. So what's in store for the future of devoted care services? Where's the company going? What's the vision?
Well, my vision for Devoted in the next like 3 years is to, grow it as much as possible, as much as it's capable, and to really secure another team, maybe create a franchise somewhere else where we can continue helping more seniors, maybe in just different locations.
Interesting. So it may be a franchise where somebody could buy into Devoted and they
Mhm.
could start in another location and follow your model.
Absolutely.
That's
We were
wonderful. I love that vision.
we were looking into, a franchise or one of my team members here who knows the business well, one of the other leaders in my team,
Hmm.
can potentially, start another one somewhere else. So it's really still going to be all part of our team.
Wonderful. So Sean, how can folks learn more? Folks that have a maybe an ailing parent or somebody that they know that some need some assistance. Do you guys have a Facebook, Instagram, website?
Yeah, well, on our website, it's devoted.care. You can learn all about our business. If you have an aging parent, if you have a parent with dementia, different resources that could be helpful. And we have a Facebook, Instagram. I have a LinkedIn, and you can reach out more on there to find more information. And you also have a local Alzheimer's group that should be around in your community that can you can reach out to, and they can have more information. Just, if there's resources that you could use, if there's, what you should prepare for. And so I think that's some good ways to kind of think about the future a little bit.
Wonderful. And right now it's Ventura, Los Angeles, and Santa Barbara counties, but potentially growing in the future.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, Sean Diswe, thank you so much for being our guest with this on the road. We've loved having you and learning all about you and your company.
Thank you so much, Paul. It was an honor to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you.